for tuning in to Local News Live, a production of AOC Community Media in partnership with the Acadiana Advocate and the Advocate at Large, our source of local journalism here in the Acadiana area and in Louisiana, covering New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, all of those. Thank them for their partnership, and we love to bring you this community service every Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. With replays often in the afternoon between the hour of 3 and 4 p.m. And we could not bring you this service without the generous volunteer efforts of our newsreaders, people like Bruce Cohen, who is with us today. Good morning, Bruce.
Well, good morning to you, Mr. Matt, my engineer. I appreciate you setting us up and allowing the public to listen to the news this morning. Appreciate it.
Glad to do it. I'm going to go listen with the public.
Okay, thank you so much, Matt. And good morning, Acadiana. It is Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020. We are in the fall season and certainly in a very active hurricane season. So I hope everyone is staying safe during this time frame, and hopefully it won't get any worse. Comedian's mother targeted in fake Antifa event suit by Megan Wyatt. Staff writer is our first article this morning. Lafayette Mayor President Josh Guillory continues to target the mother of a comedian the city is suing over fake Antifa events that prompted a real police response. The lawsuit, filed August 31st by Lafayette Consolidated Government in the 15th Judicial District Court, alleges that John Merrifield's mom was among those in Lafayette who believed the satirical Facebook events were a real threat. Now the city parish government has filed a motion to take a deposition from her, even though all discovery was paused last week after the defendant filed a motion to strike the case. Merrifield's defense further rests on his assertion that his Antifa hoax events were obviously satirical and that no reasonable person would have believed them, the city's motion said. Merrifield, however, has previously admitted his own mother believed the hoax events. If Merrifield's own mother, the person who should know him best, believed the events then, obviously a reasonable person could as well. Merrifield has filed an opposition through his lawyer, Andrew Beiser, who said the frivolous motion isn't supported by the law. If there was any doubt as to the true motivations of Lafayette City Parish, that doubt has not been removed by an attempt to take the deposition of Mr. Merrifield's mother, Beiser said in a statement. Mayor Guillory was embarrassed by his response to the fake Facebook events and is now exacting his retribution via the court. James Gibson and Michael Adley, the attorneys who signed their names to these frivolous pleadings, have reached a new low. The court and taxpayer dollars should not be used to exact petty vendettas. The comedian has defended his Facebook events as a form of satire and social commentary, but the mayor president has said the events were meant to cause disruption and cost the city money. The city is seeking an unspecified amount from Merrifield for damages of less than $75,000. Merrifield filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit earlier this month under Louisiana's anti-SLAPP statute, which pauses all discovery, including depositions, according to the advisor. City Parish's most recent motion asked the court to allow limited discovery, including a deposition from Merrifield's mother, to prove that she thought her son's satirical events were real. However, it is not in dispute that some people were duped by the fake events, Beiser wrote in a Tuesday morning news release. It is not even in dispute that Mr. Merrifield's mother thought the events were real. Mr. Merrifield was on the record stating this was so. The attempt to take the deposition of Mr. Merrifield's mother is nothing more than another example of Lafayette City Parish using the court and taxpayer dollars to further harass Mr. Merrifield. In an August interview, Merrifield declined to say how the events of lawsuit were affecting his relationship with his mother. I'd appreciate it if LCG would stop trying to involve my mother in their personal vendetta against me, he said in a statement Tuesday morning. Merrifield's first satirical event, Antifa Takes River Ranch, was posted in July The fall protests against police brutality and racial inequality hits close to home. Even after Lafayette leaders debunked the July event, the hoax continued to be believed and spread. The lawsuit states, so the city parish government was forced to take responsive action to protect people and property out of fear that armed protesters and Antifa-inspired agitators would appear. Antifa, which is short for anti-fascist, is an umbrella description for the far left and leaning militant groups that resist neo-Nazis and white supremacists at demonstrations and other events. Merrifield created another fake event, Antifa Takes the Acadiana Mall, in August. The mall closed early that day. The event was scheduled to happen, and more than 30 police units were in the parking lot at the start time for the Facebook event. Guillory said during a radio segment earlier this month, the city parish government was suing Merrifield for hoaxes that have cost taxpayers a considerable amount, as well as law enforcement investigations in response to each. We will also take these threats seriously, Guillory said during a radio segment last week with his lawyers. With a radio segment the week his lawyers filed the lawsuit. But we're not just going to respond and say, okay, thank you. Let us all pay all this overtime from the taxpayers. Heck no, we will stop at no cost, or we will stop at no measure to recoup the costs that taxpayers have to pay for this kind of stuff. Let me take a quick drink of my tea this morning, folks. Felt a little tightening of the vocal cords there. Thank you. Our next story, 10 apply for Lafayette Police Chief by Claire Taylor, staff writer. 2 searches for a new Lafayette Police Chief had netted 10 applicants. A first nationwide request for applicants was issued in March, just before the COVID-19 pandemic hit Louisiana. It drew only 4 applicants, all of them local, so a second request for applicants was issued. The deadline to apply was last week. 10 applicants are currently in the pool, and 11th withdrew his application. The next step is for the applicants to take the police chief exam. Scores will be sent to the Lafayette Police and Fire Civil Service Board for review, but the board does not select the police chief. Lafayette Mayor President Josh Guillory has the ultimate hiring decision. Chief Toby Aguillard resigned January 6th, the day Guillory was sworn in as Mayor President. After being told by Guillory he should resign and be fired. Days later, Aguillard was replaced by interim Chief Scott Morgan, who said he had no intention of applying for the permanent job and is not among the applicants. Reggie Thomas, who served as deputy chief under Aguillard and was interim chief before Aguillard was hired, was expected to apply. A 30-year veteran of the department and its highest ranking minority in the department, Thomas retired in May after Guillory said he would abolish the deputy chief's position. Thomas is a candidate for Lafayette City Marshal in the November 3rd election. The Lafayette Police Chief position pays $101,701 to $125,729 a year. Applicants received in the first round of advertising who remain in the pool of candidates include Lafayette Police Spokesman Sergeant Wayne Griffin, Lafayette Police Sergeant Paul Truhard, retired Louisiana State Police Lieutenant Eric Burson, and retired Lafayette Police Lieutenant Guy LeBreton. Second round of applicants include Thomas Glover Sr., retired Deputy Chief of the Dallas Police Department, Bobby Jackson, owner of Jackson's Investigations, and former Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office Commander Jason McWright, longtime law enforcement officer with the Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office, Edward Reynolds, Police Chief at Southern University in Shreveport, Stacy Wright, who works at law enforcement tech company Axon in Arizona, and Samuel Wyatt, Director of Investigations at LSU. And our next story is not Acadiana local, ERAF. ERAF native takes on the second gay rights cause. New petitions to aim to protect LGBTQ employees in Austin Catholic Schools by Ken Stickney, staffer. Ashley Langley will take a different gay rights cause to a different bishop on Wednesday. Langley, a Erath native, spoke out in July against a parish priest in her hometown after he used a parish newsletter to complain about the New Orleans Saints celebrating gay rights. Langley identifies as gay and is married to a woman. On August 6th, she delivered 2 sets of petitions to Lafayette Bishop Douglas Desautels, urging him to remove the Reverend Andre Metrojean as pastor of Our Lady of Lourdes, the church in which he grew up. Instead, Langley was fired from her part-time role as girls basketball coach at Dom Savio High School in Austin, Texas. The principal cited her activism in the Lafayette Diocese as a reason for her dismissal. On Wednesday, Langley's supporters said she would present new petitions, this time to Austin Bishop Joe Vasquez, asking that LGBTQ employees in Austin's Catholic schools have protection in their jobs. This isn't about me. I want my student athletes to see that you always stand up to injustice. Langley said in a statement released by Faithful America, a national online organization of Christians. All we're asking for is Bishop Vasquez, Savio High School, and the church to show Jesus' love, dignity, and compassion to all people, regardless of their race or sexual orientation. Some members of Langley's team at Dom Savio was expected to accompany her to the Austin Bishop's office. Petitions needed for Vasquez will bear some 12,000 signatures, Faithful America said in a news release. Petitions with about as many signatures were sent to Desautels. The Reverend Nathan F. Saul, campaigns director for Faithful America, said Desautels has not responded to his organization after the petitions were delivered in Lafayette. Faithful America's members are tired of seeing Christianity hijacked for a hateful message of discrimination. Faithful America said in a prepared statement released Tuesday. Every priest, pastor, and bishop who claims to represent the gospel has a duty to support equal rights for LGBTQ persons, each of whom was made in the image of God. Faithful America is proud to support Ashley's inspiring fight for justice, whether Ashley was terminated for her marriage or for speaking out for LGBTQ inclusion. Jesus never punished anyone for whom they loved or for demanding a more welcoming church. If it's not about love, it's not about God. Langley's played basketball at Turlings High and Erath High School and graduated from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. Faithful America is based in New York City. It says its membership is about 25% Catholic. Well, it says New York. I'm not sure it's New York City, but it's based in New York. Okay, well, let's go to our first PSAs for the morning. Requests for mosquito control now available through Lafayette 311. Lafayette Consolidated Government, or LCG, is increasing mosquito abatement efforts in the parish following Hurricane Laura. An increase in mosquito activity is a common occurrence following a storm event. Citizens noticing an influx of mosquitoes in their area can now use the Lafayette 311 portal to request service. All submitted requests are routed directly to the Mosquito Control Services, the mosquito control contractor for the parish. The downtown Toot and Scoot Shrimp Boil is only a week away. The fundraiser for downtown Lafayette, presented by Moss BMW, will serve shrimp and beverages Toot and Scoot style on the streets surrounding Park Sans Souci. The drive-through pickup party also offers a live DJ set by DJ Digital, a mobile O-Snap booth, photo booth company, photo booth, and a chance to hashtag Riptails and enjoy a live stream pickup experience with other lovers of downtown Lafayette. Tickets for the boil include 1 pound of premium jumbo shrimp with all the fixings and beverages including soda, wine, and beer. For more information, you can contact Maureen Dugas Foster, Director of Downtown Lafayette, and Maureen at downtownlafayette.org. And I think because of the storms that were happening, that the Toot and Scoot Shrimp Boil is not a week away. I think it's could be sometime in October. You can contact again Maureen Dugan Foster and Maureen at downtownlafayette.org, or you can go to the DTA Facebook page or website to find out more information, specifically the date that's been rescheduled for the Toot and Scoot shrimp boil. Okay, getting back into our news. Breaking even. 13-year-old Even St. Julian scoops grown-up news outlets in Acadia Parish by Megan Wyatt. Not exactly Acadiana, but close enough. By Megan Wyatt, staff writer. Even St. Julian has been known to break a news story before other media outlets in his hometown in rural Acadia Parish, sometimes even upsetting spokespeople for agencies where he shares information before they do. The pushback doesn't bother the 13-year-old. He's not one to shy away from controversy or back down when others try to silence him. Don't worry about what people say if someone is hating on you, he said. I always view it as jealousy. Either that or they're just having a bad day and taking it out on somebody else. Even has developed the followers and helpful sources that allow him to keep sharing stories in the Mirror community. He's taken the lead on recent news stories about a traffic crash involving a cyclist and euthanasia at a local animal shelter. He was inspired to start his own children's news operation, which he calls Even News, 4 weeks after watching the local news station after each evening with his grandparents. Initially, his team included friends and family, but most have lost interest in the kids' news operation over the years. Even has not. I don't want to say Evan, but it's Even. Instead, he's growing more confident with each broadcast. People get older, so they're not always going to have the same passion for everything. Even said, I happen to still want to do this, so sometimes you just have to make decisions to keep going without them. Even has outgrown 2 makeshift bedroom studios at his grandparents' house in June. He worked with his family to renovate a wood shop in the backyard with the hopes of turning it into a more professional operation. Hurricane Laura, which Even covered live on YouTube and Facebook with his cousin, dampened those dreams. The storm blew the roof off the wood shop, ruining the work they put into the building. Even buying his own plywood, just working at his own pace, his grandmother, Sheila Prejean, said, and then this happened. The family is waiting for word from the insurance company before figuring out their next steps. Even, an 8th grader at Muir Elementary School, is the school's acting president of the student council, despite extracurricular activities being suspended because of the pandemic. L.A. Cantrell, who taught Even math last year, said his bubbly personality and passion isn't just an act for his online followers. He bought king cakes to school every Friday during the Mardi Gras season and started an impromptu dance party to journeys Don't Stop Believing ahead of standardized testing. He's the kind of person who can inspire others and see the truth for what it is. I just want a little bit of Even's enthusiasm and creativity and spunk, Cantrell said. I mean, he's truly one of a kind. And you know what's funny? I sometimes forget that he's like 13. I call him my little Anderson Cooper. Even doesn't dream of being a CNN anchor one day and said he wants to be a country pop singer and meeting his favorite artist, Kelly Clarkson. Maybe she'll see this, Even asked in excitement. That's like my dream interview. Oh my God. As he hopes for a call from his idol, Even continues to plan projects for his news operations. His focus at the moment is on a video series for National Bullying Prevention Month in October. Eventually, once coronavirus restrictions ease up, Even wants to take his anti-bullying program to school assemblies in Acadiana. He's never going to be too big for small town Louisiana, but at the same time, he can go and do whatever he wants, Cantrell said. I just hope he generally falls where his calling is. I want him to stay close by if he wants to, because family is so important to Even, but I also want him to go out and explore the world and be whoever he is, if he wants to be. Maybe it is Evan, I'm not sure. It's spelled Even. Maybe it's pronounced Evan, but if you're out there, Even, and you hear this broadcast, get in touch with us, let us know. I'm pretty sure it's Even. but would like to know for sure. Moving on. Guillory administration seeks feedback on development code. More meetings planned on Wednesday and Thursday by Ben Meyer staff forum. Lafayette Parish Mayor President Josh Guillory's administration is looking for public feedback on new development code with 3 meetings this week. Guillory campaigned last year on a repeal and replace policy for the United Development Code, and he promptly convened a committee to make recommendations for a new document. Guillory's objective was to remove bureaucratic hurdles to development. The committee, composed mainly of business people in the real estate and development field, met publicly on February 7th to review areas of the code that committee members consider problematic. The coronavirus pandemic forced cancellations of additional meetings last spring, but the city parish's development and planning department has been drafting revisions in the meantime. Meetings will include discussion on the big changes being proposed, and additional documentation of what changes will be available, said Mary Slyman, the department's director. Slyman, who took over after Danielle Breaux resigned in March, said the administration still intends to repeal the entire code and replace it with new document. Additional revisions are possible depending on the feedback this week. She said one meeting took place Tuesday. The upcoming meetings are 2 p.m. today, Wednesday, Clifton Chenier Town Hall Auditorium, Building C, and that's at 220 West Willow Street in Lafayette. And tomorrow, 10 a.m., Thursday, at the West Regional Library, 501 Old Spanish Trail in Scott. And we have a new coffee shop opening up locally. It's called Rise and Shine. Youngsville's Sunrise Coffee Company aims to bring the beach to Louisiana by Megan Wyatt. Coffee shops are about as much about the ambiance as they are about the indulgent espresso drinks they're known for. And while many cozy retreats where students study and friends meet, there's a new shop in Youngsville that's quite unlike any other, except for the original location in Santa Rosa, Florida. Prentice A. Freeman IV, who's better known as Boo, is a brainchild behind the business. It's a part coffee shop, part tiki bar, and part retro candy store. Throw in boudin, burgers, and concession stand favorites, and you have Sunrise Coffee Company and Sugar Mill Pond. I just wanted to bring a cool, funky coffee shop into Louisiana that's different than everybody else's, Freeman said. I brought sunshine here to bring the beach to Louisiana, that fun vibe and that good feel when you walk in. Freeman, a Houma native who moved to Lafayette as a teenager, splits his time between Acadiana and the Florida Panhandle, where he has 2 other businesses. One offers beach services and the other manufactures beach furniture. The original location of Sunrise Coffee Company along Florida 30A actually opened about 6 years as a way for Freeman to promote his furniture business, Sunrise Chair Company. He began serving drinks made with Amavita coffee beans, which are roasted in the area by a man who grew up in a coffee farming community in Puerto Rico. Freeman uses the same coffee beans at the Youngsville location of Sunrise. It's just high-end, good coffee that he travels the world to do fair trade with. Guatemala, Ecuador, Colombia, all over, Freeman said. And it's kind of how the coffee shop became what it did after so many years. And being from here, I wanted to open a shop here so I could come back more and just bring everything from 30A that people go there for back home. The Youngsville location opened Memorial Day weekend and has seen steady business since, even with Louisiana's capacity restrictions and mask mandate in place to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Freeman spends most weekdays in Florida during the peak beach season, so he relied on his girlfriend, Leslie Doucet, to help get the Youngsville shop up and running over the summer. The reception has been great, Doucet said. We've got to know people. We see a lot of repeat offenders. We almost have like the norm from Cheers. We know some of the people when they walk in, and we'll have the drink ready for them. Doucet, a 6th grade English teacher at LG Alaman, said people have been surprised to find such an eclectic beach-themed spot in Sugar Mill Pond. Among the most popular items are avocado toast, wraps, hamburgers, and iced tea. The thing that I think is so cool is that Boo's hand has been on everything in there. Literally everything to say so. It's all his idea, the rustic beach theme. He did the walls, he put in the floors, he put up the surfboard, he put everything into it. We call it Freemanize. Anything he gets, he Freemanizes, and it just makes it a little bit better. Sunrise Coffee Company is located at 120 Waterview Road in Youngsville. The shop is open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. You can learn more about Sunrise Coffee Company at their Facebook page at facebook.com/sunrisecoffeesmp. Check it out. Sounds pretty good. I'm going to check it out myself. Okay, we're almost reaching the half-hour mark in our broadcast this morning, which we'll definitely read the day in history, the zodiac, and the funerals in the Acadiana area for today. But first, let's read a couple more public service announcements for you. The Illustrated Cafe and Downtown Tourism Kiosk, unique opportunity for Downtown Lafayette Unlimited members to be part of an upcoming exhibit in downtown Lafayette. From October to January, the Illustrated Cafe will serve as a public art installation in the cafe of the Acadian Center for the Arts. The cafe is designed to look like a wand drawing that visitors can walk inside a cartoon-like world created by artist Aileen Bennett. Illustration is a black and white drawing in 3 dimensions with real tables and chairs, fanciful illustrations, and objects galore. There will also be a downtown tourism kiosk to help visitors navigate and learn about downtown. The installation will open October 10th for downtown Lafayette's second Saturday Art Walk and will run for a minimum of 3 months, including special holiday editions for Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Completely integrated into the project are maps, advertising, postcards, and stationary advertising that provide a much desired information hub to share with visitors in the thriving downtown area. Your business's postcards, designed by Aileen Bennett, will be featured in the Illustrated Cafe's Visitor Hub. Visitors will be able to take home these custom designed cards free throughout the 3 months duration of the exhibition. This is a unique opportunity for businesses to receive a personalized piece of art for inclusion and a fantastical viewer experience. For more information, contact the Acadian Center for the Arts today at acadiancenterforthearts.org. The Acadiana Symphony Orchestra, or ASO, takes a virtual stage. The Acadiana Symphony Orchestra announces that they are shifting the fall portion of the ASO 36 revival season to a virtual live stream platform. ASO believes that this is the unquestionable solution to keeping our community safe while still providing opportunities for local musicians to share their passion and earn income despite mandated restrictions and uncertain venue viability. Acadiana Symphony Orchestra has and will always remain committed to providing outstanding performances to Acadiana and fueling the cultural economy of our region. Symphonies, businesses, and organizations across the country are having to rethink, retool, and reinvent, and we are no different. So thank you for your grace and your patience as we map out the next few months. We are working tirelessly behind the scenes to solidify plans for those virtual concerts, and it's our commitment to you that we will clearly and concisely communicate ASO 36 revival season details in the coming weeks. At a minimum, we are certain that you will receive the highest quality live streaming performances, which you can enjoy from virtually anywhere. As of right now, the lineup includes a program entitled Triumph, Friday, October 23rd, 2020, as a virtual performance. Transform, Friday, November 13th, 2020, virtual. Believe, Thursday, December 17th, 2020, virtual. Adore, Friday, February 12th, 2021, at the ACA, or Kennedy Center for the Arts, possibly virtual. Empower, Friday, April 16th, 2021, St. Charles Cathedral, possibly virtual. And Revive, Thursday, May 13th, 2021, at St. Mary's Church, possibly virtual. Okay, let's get back into the news. We'll read the day in history. Today is Wednesday, September 23rd. It's the 267th day of 2020. There are potentially 99 shopping days left in the year. Today's highlight in history: on September 23rd, 1952, Senator Richard M. Nixon, Republican from California, salvaged his vice presidential nomination by appearing on television from Los Angeles to refute allegations of improper campaign fundraising in what became known as the Checkers speech. On this date in 1806, the Lewis and Clark expedition returned to St. Louis more than 2 years after setting out from the Pacific Northwest. In 1846, Neptune was identified as a planet by a German astronomer, Johann Gottfried Galle. 1932, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was founded. 1949, President Harry S. Truman announced there was evidence the Soviet Union had recently conducted a nuclear test explosion. The test had been carried out on August 29, 1949. 1955, a jury in Sumner, Mississippi acquitted two white men, Roy Bryant and J.W. Millen, of murdering black teenager Emmett Till. The two men later admitted to the crime in an interview with Look magazine. 1957, 9 black students who went to Little Rock Central High School in Arkansas were forced to withdraw because of a white mob outside. In 1999, the Mars Climate Orbiter apparently burned up as it attempted to go into orbit around the red planet. And in 2001, on this date, President George W. Bush returned the American flag to full staff at Camp David, symbolically ending a period of national mourning following the 9/11 attacks. 10 years ago, the U.S. delegation walked out of a UN speech by Iranian President Mohammad Ahmadinejad after he had summoned the world to speculated that the U.S. staged the September 11, 2001 attacks in an attempt to assure Israel's survival. 5 years ago, in the first canonization on U.S. soil, Pope Francis elevated to sainthood Junipero Serra, an 18th century missionary who brought Catholicism to the American West Coast. Earlier in the day, the pontiff met with President Barack Obama in the White House and was greeted by adoring crowds during an outdoor procession. Chinese President Xi Jinping, visiting Seattle, addressed Amazon.com founder Jeff Bezos, billionaire investor Warren Buffett, and other top American and Chinese business leaders, vowing his country will work to remove barriers to foreign investment and improve intellectual property protections. 1 year ago, hundreds of thousands of travelers were left stranded across the world after the British tour operator Thomas Cook collapsed, immediately halting almost all of its flights and hotel services and laying off employees. The 178-year-old company had helped create the package tour industry. Today's birthdays: singer Julio Iglesias is 77. Actor-singer Mary-Kate Place, one of my favorite actors, is 73. Rock star Bruce Springsteen, Bruce. Actor Jason is 71. Actor Jason Alexander from Seinfeld fame is 61. Actor Chi McBride is 59. Singer Annie DeFranco, really need to listen to her work. She puts out some pretty incredible sounds. Is 50 years old today. Recording executive Jermaine Dupri is 48. Actor Anthony Mackie is 42. Actor Audrey Dollar is 40. Actor Brandon Victor Dixon is 39. Actor David Lim is 37. And pop singer Diana Ortez from the group Dream is 35. And now switching over to the zodiac or the horoscope. If you're a Libra, you're putting up with disruptions and the demands of others will stand between you and reaching your goal. Personal gain is possible if you do what's required. Scorpios, do a good job. You'll be judged by what you do, not by what you say. Refuse to let your personal life interfere with your professional responsibilities. Sagittarius, a passionate approach to life, love, and pursuits will lead to success. Don't rely on others. Take control and see matters through from beginning to end. Capricorn, be open regarding your whereabouts as well as your feelings. The outcome of a change you make at home will depend on honesty, integrity, and motives. Don't let anger take over. Aquarius, if you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you may make poor decisions. Keep your money and belongings in a safe place. Personal improvements will bring the most satisfaction. Pisces, Offer unique suggestions, but don't take on the brunt of the responsibility or work. If you give the wrong impression, it will be difficult to change what someone thinks of you. Aries, being around someone that brings out the best in you will make a difference in how your life unfolds. Too much of anything will lead to setbacks. Aim for steady progress. Taurus, it's essential to have a plan and a backup to ensure you maintain stability in your life. Emotions will run deep when dealing with a friend, relative, or lover. Gemini, the best way to get you to move away is with charm, incentives, and kind words. Avoid people who are secretive or take advantage of you. A physical improvement will boost your morale. Cancer, use your imagination and creativity to get ahead professionally. Don't exaggerate or promise more than you can deliver, and offer will lead to uncertainty. And Leos, find new ways to collaborate with people you enjoy working alongside. An idea you will have will lead to a service you can offer from home. Social media will encourage new beginnings. Love is on the rise. And finally, Virgo, my birth sign. If things aren't going the way you planned, look around you and make adjustments to ease stress. Handle sensitive situations with kid gloves in order to avoid provoking an argument with someone you love. And as always, the horoscope is an entertainment feature, not based on scientific fact. The funerals in the Acadiana area today: Geraldine Lawrence, Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Church at noon; Janelle Savoie, Our Lady Queen of Angels Catholic Church in Opelousas at 2:30 p.m., and Laura Saunier, Evangel Memorial Gardens Chapel in Carriacou at 2 p.m. Okay, let's hit a couple more PSAs and then we'll get back into the news. AOC teams up with United Way of Acadiana for Learn United. United Way of Acadiana has teamed up with AOC and other local educational groups for Learn United, bridging the digital gap to provide educational resources for households that don't have internet but do have a television. The Learn United program airs weekdays from 8 to 2 on AOC Cox 2 and Cox 16, AOC 2, Cox 16 LUS 4, and streaming at aocinc.org/watch. For daily schedules and to submit content for the program, visit the United Way of Acadiana website, unitedwayofacadiana.org/learn-united. During this pandemic, it's a good thing to try to stay calm. So Keeping Calm Through COVID is a hotline you can call. So if you're feeling overwhelmed with stress, fear, and anxiety about the uncertainty surrounding the public health emergency, there is a special Keeping Calm Through COVID hotline you can call. This connects you to trained, compassionate counselors who can offer support, and you can direct you to mental health and substance abuse counseling services. Trained counselors are available 24/7 and all calls are confidential. The phone number there being 866, that's 1-866-310-7977. Locally, if you're feeling you want some more information about the pandemic in the Acadiana area, you can stop the spread call instead, #stop the spread, by dialing 311. You can get latest COVID-19 updates and information. You can also go online at www.311lafayette.services. Call centers of volunteers, medical professionals are active 24/7 to answer your questions about COVID-19 and to determine if you would like to get screened. You may also call 311, press option 2 if you're a business owner or employee or are looking for a job to get information about applying for small business recovery loans, applying for unemployment benefits, and related programs. All right, getting back into the news. Coronavirus hasn't hurt Louisiana college enrollment by mark ballot, Capitol Bureau ever, and now into the state-related news. When colleges around the country closed down earlier this year to slow the coronavirus contagion, higher educational officials fretted that fall enrollment numbers would drop significantly. Many launched a task force to calculate just what that would mean to bottom lines. We had a lot of uncertainty this year. We've been through a lot of tumult, pandemic, campus closes, now storms, said Jim Henderson, president of the University of Louisiana system, which educates about 215,000 post-secondary students and 9 four-year institutions. 6 of 10 admission officials across the country said they were very concerned about meeting their institution's enrollment goals for the fall according to a survey of 433 senior mission officials released on Monday. The 2020 Inside Higher Ed survey of college and university mission officials conducted by Gallup also found that most colleges expect a decrease in enrollment this year. Higher education officials in Louisiana needn't have worried. Public universities in the state, pretty much across the board, saw more students sign up and pay tuition for the fall semester. Some of the increases were dramatic. LSU Baton Rouge and Northwestern State University have record-breaking years, signing up the latest classes in the school's histories. Nicholls State had its largest class since 1990. University of New Orleans and Southeastern Louisiana University also saw increases. So did the LSU campuses and Eunice, Alexandria, and Shreveport. The only school that will show a dip in a number of students is the University of Louisiana Lafayette, Henderson said. He attributed the decline to the Lafayette Parish School Board being slow to activate dual enrollment, which allows high schoolers to take college courses. Otherwise, UL had a good recruitment year, he said. The campus censuses are coming due to the Board of Regents, which oversees all public colleges and universities. Official numbers are required a few weeks after institution opens for classes. Since not every school opens on the same day, they're not all on the same timeline. Beneath State University appeared on its way to more students, but the campus suffered a lot of damage 3 weeks ago and had to suspend classes for a while, which set back the region's timeline. Louisiana Tech University in Reston didn't start classes until early in this month. The Southern University system would not disclose its enrollment until its numbers are given to the regions. UL System President Henderson pointed to jobs as a primary reason why Louisiana's post-secondary schools went against the national expectation. The economic shutdown and accompanying job losses motivated a good many students to improve their credentials and become more employable. Truth is, I've been bullish throughout, even though there were national predictions of a massive decline, Henderson said, adding that at least part of his optimism came from an unmeasurable gut feeling that as students were displaced when their out-of-state college was shut down by the pandemic, the students would want to transfer closer to home. Optimistic he may have been, but back in April, Henderson had the UL school leaders map out places in the budgets to cut should fall enrollments coming at 5%, 10%, even 15% shy of previous years. When the dust settled, UNO added 144 more students, bringing total enrollment up to 8,375 students, up 1.75% from last year. 20% more freshman students enrolled, going up from 931 to 1,123 students. In the past 10 years, LSU has seen overall enrollment of Black students increase 87% to 5,028, and Hispanic student enrollments increased 130% to 2,490. Okay. Louisiana State Trooper who faced firing dies in crash. Hollingsworth told of termination for his role in the in-custody death of a Black man by Jim Mustaney and Melinda Slade, or Dislot. Associated Press. Louisiana State Trooper has died following a single vehicle highway crash that happened just hours after he learned he would be fired for his role last year in the in-custody death of a Black man. Master Trooper Chris Hollingsworth was pronounced dead Tuesday following a brief hospitalization. Warren Lee, chief investigator for the Washita Parish Coroner's Office, told the Associated Press. Hollingsworth had been airlifted to Shreveport early Monday after crashing his personal vehicle on Interstate 20 near Monroe. Police have not released any details about how the crash occurred. Hours before, Hollingsworth had received word that the state police intended to terminate him following an internal investigation into the May 2019 death of Ronald Green, a case that has drawn mounting scrutiny and became the subject of a federal civil rights investigation. Authorities initially said Green died after crashing his vehicle into a tree following a high-speed chase in rural northern Louisiana that began over an unspecified traffic violation. But Green's family alleges troopers used excessive force and brutalized him while taking him into custody. State police Despite growing pressure, I have repeatedly declined to release body camera footage and other records related to Green's arrest. Governor John Bel Edwards, Democrat, said Tuesday he has not seen the footage but pledged to make it public once the ongoing investigations are concluded. When that happens, he said, the videos will be shown. Green's family called for the immediate arrest of the remaining men responsible for this tragic and unnecessary death. Trooper Holly Moore's family has the finality of knowing exactly how he died as their community mourns his loss, and Lee Merritt, a prominent civil rights attorney representing the family. The family of Ronald Green, however, is still being denied the same finality by the state of Louisiana. Green's family has filed a federal wrongful death lawsuit alleging troopers brutalized Green, used a stun gun on him 3 times, and left him beaten, bloodied, and cardiac arrest before covering up his actual cause of death. The controversy deepened last week when Green's family released graphic photographs showing deep bruises and cuts to his face, and other photos showing his car with little damage. That raised concerns about whether Green received those injuries in a car crash, as authorities initially told his family, or when troopers arrested him. State police have said only that the 49-year-old Green died after resisting arrest and a struggle with troopers who took him into custody. The agency opened an internal investigation into the case last month and placed Hollingwood on paid leave September 9. No disciplinary action had been announced against the other 5 troopers involved. Edwards said Tuesday he was not comfortable in saying that I'm happy with the amount of time, more than 15 months that passed between Green's death and the opening of the state police internal investigation. He added, however, that there are reasons for that, and there's an approach that has been taken for as long as anybody can remember when you have criminal investigations that are ongoing. Whether that continues to be the most appropriate approach to that, I'm not sure, he said. We're going to be taking a look into that and whether some changes are necessary. Edward decries special session plans. Legislature aims to curb governor's virus restrictions by Wilson Tell staff writing. Governor John Bel Edwards said Tuesday the special session should be limited to a 10 to 14 days, not up to 30 days, as the Louisiana legislature is planning, and be restricted to about 5 topics rather than the 70 on the House and Senate agenda. This is part of the issue, Edwards told reporters. You call a special session and have 70 objects. That is a regular session. Governor also said it will make no sense for the legislature to impose restrictions on its ability to spell out rules on restaurants, bars, and public gatherings in the battle against the coronavirus. You cannot respond to a public health emergency by committee, Edwards said. Edwards is a Democrat, and the legislature is controlled by Republicans. Legislative leaders on Monday announced they will be calling legislatures into a special session starting Monday to deal with issues on the coronavirus pandemic, shoring up Louisiana's battered unemployment trust fund, to respond to Hurricane Laura, among other topics. The gathering can last until 6 p.m. October 27th. Senate President Paige Cortez, Republican from Lafayette, said while the 70-item list of items in the call is expansive, lawmakers wanted to give Edwards also said his critics have never spelled out specifically what they object to in his antivirus measures, themselves plenty of flexibility. House Speaker Clay Schnaxlader, Republican from Gonzales, pointedly said a significant number of House members believe the governor's rules to combat the virus represent an imbalance of power. Special session will not end without a solution to this problem, Schnaxlader said on Monday. Edwards said the legislative leaders agree that action is needed on the fund that pays for weekly unemployment benefits. It has windowed from about $800 million earlier this year to around $90 million today, amid skyrocketing unemployment claims sparked by the pandemic closures. Edwards said the best solution would be for Congress to pass a bipartisan bill that includes aid for state and local governments, including flexibility on how to use the dollars. That would be the best thing that could happen, he said. Edwards said another option would be for the state to use remaining portions of its share of the $2.2 trillion federal coronavirus relief package to help shore up the unemployment trust fund. Okay, just make sure. No, yeah, okay. And now we're going to go into our sports for the morning. An article called Staying Rooted, Cajuns receiver with big catch motivated by his sister's memory and Lynn Charles recovery by Kevin Foote, staff writer. No one knows how many receptions UL sophomore wide receiver David Pauly is going to get before the end of the 2020 season. When the highlight film of this Raging Cajuns campaign is made, the former Barb High School standout will certainly be responsible for one of the plays, maybe even the very first one selected. Pauly understands the importance of his performance and has been working hard to be able to step up for his team, but his motivation runs deeper. He plays for the sister he lost when she was 17 and he was only 12, and for his hometown of Lake Charles, recently devastated by Hurricane Laura. The highlight reel catch came in a drive late in the second quarter, with his number 19 ranked Raging Cajuns down 14-0. Cornerback McKay Garner's interception halted Georgia State's momentum, but suddenly UL's offense was facing a 4th and 10 on the Panthers' 42. Under intense pressure, quarterback Levi Lewis began scrambling. He found Pauly down the field before getting hit, and the receiver made a circus grab in heavy traffic for a 19-yard gain. Teammate Chris Miss caught an 18-yard touchdown pass on the next play, and the Cajuns were now back in it on their way to a 34-31 overtime win. Ran a dig route. The safety played it good on me, Pauly said. I was covered up and I saw Levi scramble to his left, so I scrambled back and he scrambled back to the right. I cut back and he turned and made the throw. I knew I had to go get it, 4th and 10. In the moment, Pauly's thoughts went back to his formative years in Lake Charles. My high school coach used to always say your number is going to eventually get calls, and when it does, be ready to make a play. So I know I had to make a big-time play, Pauly said. I knew it was going to be contested. I had to go up and be strong and make a catch. In 2 games so far, Pauly has 2 receptions of 35 yards. Both came at the end of the first half, and both were tightly contested by defenders, and both ignited critical scoring drives. We actually ran it twice, Pauly said, of the other grab at Iowa State. We ran it the first time, and Coach Nate called it again. Levi made a great throw. I knew it was going to be a contested catch, so I tried to keep my hands strong throughout and get my feet down. He made his wide receivers coach, Tim Leger, proud with both efforts. The relationship harkens back to Pauly growing up in Lake Charles. Leger played and coached at McNeese State. His son Gunnar played wide receiver at Barb. I went to a couple of McNeese camps growing up, Pauly said. We get along well. A week before the first game at Iowa State, 5'8", 175-pound receiver was in 174-pound receiver was in Lake Charles with Leger on the campus at McNeese State. It was unlike any trip home he had ever taken. Okay, let's move through this. Fairly long article. And okay, that's where we'll stop in. The next article I'm going to read is called The Tiger Prince. It's about a player on the current LSU's football team, and it's a long article, but I just want to preface it by saying it's called The Tiger Prince, and it's about a player on the team whose family comes from Nigeria, Africa. There are a lot of names of African heritage that I may have a little trouble pronouncing, so just bear with me and I'll try to get through it as much as possible. In about a minute, we're going to go from the audio portion of today's broadcast from our TV stations to, the TV stations will cut out and will still be heard on our Cypress Street Radio streaming online at Cypress Street Radio, CYPRESS, our online streaming radio service, or you can go to YouTube at our AOC Community Media on YouTube, and you can listen to the audio there. So we'll start off at 9:54 with the Tiger Prince. So we want to meet BJ Ojulari, grandson of a Nigerian prince, descendant of a king, and an LSU pass rusher by Brooks Kubena, staff writer. PJ Ojulari is a grandson of a Nigerian prince, the descendant of a powerful war chief and king. Really. LSU's newest defensive end, the 18-year-old who had hardly left his home in Marietta, Georgia, the true freshman who Coach Ed Orgeron said is probably our best pass rusher right now, is genuine royalty. Ojulari's mother, Olani, grew up in a palace, although the multi-house compound is more humble than you'd expect. Olani's late father, Olanini Osantoke, was a world-famous painter and musician who toured the globe. He changed his name to Prince Twins 77, a name that recognized he was the only surviving child of his parents' 7 sets of twins. The son of a Christian mother and Muslim father, Twins 77 dedicated his artwork to bringing back the Orisha deities of his Yoruba ancestors. His great-grandfather, Oshantuki, worshipped Osun, the goddess of purity and fertility and love. Oshantoki was a king of Abadan in the 1890s. Refugees founded the city-state earlier their century, and the military leaders fought off invasions from other tribes seeking to sell them into slavery. Civil wars sprung within Abadan, and Osuntuki was bestowed his royal title, Olubadan of Abadan, or his valor on the battlefield. Twin 77 may have been king if he had not died at 67 following a stroke in 2011. Instead, the title was passed on to Oba Salu Antunkai, 92, who remains Abadan city monarch today. An oracle helps the royal family choose the next king when the Olubadan of Abadan dies. Lani said it's unlikely her son, whose full name is Njamu Bolaji Ojulari, will ever be chosen. Twin 77 had 16 wives and 35 children, and the crown is normally passed down through male lineage. Royalty is more than a crown in Abadan. The honor represents social respect and wisdom and judgment. There are traits any person can earn in any life. Twin 77 once visited Bolani's family for several months in the Atlanta region. He sat BJ down and reminded his grandson who exactly he was. "You are a prince," Twin 777 said. "Whatever you want to achieve, go and get it. Whatever you want to be, go be." A lot of damage and little time. It's an unbelievable story, isn't it? Richard Morgan said a few hours after Marietta High finished a football practice. It's not a story many people know. Morgan, the head coach of the Blue Devils, found out his star player was a Nigerian prince a couple of years after they first met. Morgan's coaching staff designed multiple defensive packages around Ojulari. They lined him up at defensive end and linebacker and moved him around, creating different angles, disguising his presence so opposing offenses wouldn't know where he was headed. Even if they did, the results were usually the same. A lot of damage happens in a very short amount of time, Morgan said. Marietta was 23-21 in 4 years before Ojulari's arrival, and Morgan credited the program's rise to last year's graduating class, which included another projected LSU star, Eric Gilbert, the first tight end to a National Gatorade Player of the Year. Ojulari was a two-way player, a fixture at right tackle, who started in every game since he was a freshman. He had remarkable hip flexibility and explosiveness, and he set the school's power clean record at 335 pounds. He was physically exhausted after every game, Morgan said. He played every snap on offense, every snap on defense. Orgeron told reporters that Ojulari is still going to see a lot of snaps in LSU's season opener against Mississippi State at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday in Tiger Stadium. An effective LSU pass rush will be critical against Bulldogs coach Mike Leach's air raid offense. And just how did a descendant of a Nigerian king end up in Baton Rouge? Oh, Bolani's laughed. That's a long story. Open your eyes and see. But we don't have to read that whole portion. I do want to get to the end, because it is a fairly long article, so we'll take it to here. Balani and Musari both have wanted to take their children back to Abadan to show them where they came from. The trip has always been in the plans, but it hasn't happened yet. They take them to the houses they grew up in. They walk through the streets and smell the tropical cuisine, listen to the thumps of African drums. They visit the village of their ancestors, show them their vistas of their heritage. The parents have held on to so much of their culture with their own home in Marietta. They've upheld it in their meals. They still speak the Yoruba language, and although the children don't speak it fluently, they understand words when they hear them. Even if the trip never happens, perhaps the most inspiring, familiar message has still made it through. As their youngest son, BJ, began his own path to Baton Rouge toward a journey that could lead to the glory of the NFL, she has passed on a familiar message. Whatever you want to do, just believe you can do it, Balani said, and by the grace of God, we will do it. And I hope I pronounced a lot of those names and African names correctly. I probably messed up a few, but I did the best I could. So that's it for this morning, folks. We're just a minute past 10. We usually go from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And that story was a little longer and took us over the 10 a.m. mark. But hope that you continue to listen. Like I said, at the 5 minutes before the hour, we usually the audio portion on our TV stations ends, and we go to our streaming online radio service, which is Cypress Street Radio, CYPRESS Street Radio, or on YouTube at AOC Community Media. And we do this service free for the visually impaired and for people in our community who don't get the newspaper or don't have access to the news cycle. We do this every Monday through Friday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We have volunteer readers like myself who actually have been doing it at their home. I'm doing this from my home studio since until the pandemic eases down and we can go back into the podcast booths at AOC in downtown Lafayette. But for now, we'll do it from our homes, and we're glad to bring you the service. And we appreciate you listening. As I say every morning, be safe, be healthy, and be smart. Please be smart. We're still in this pandemic, so take all precautions. You know the precautions by now. So just follow all precautions and be smart about it. And as I say every morning, this is Bruce Cohen. We'll always be Bruce Cohen, and be kind to each other out there. Have a great day.